I arrived in Guatemala about 1:30 in the morning. Yes, my flight was delayed, so I arrived later than anticipated. When I showed up at the airport, I realized it was quite a smaller airport. In fact, I had no expectations for this country. A lot of the Central Latin America countries, my expectations, I really don't have much because I have no idea. And I don't watch videos on YouTube because I don't want to spoil it. I sort of want to get a surprise. So when I showed up, I was walking around the airport. It was very quiet. I guess not a lot of people were traveling this time in the morning. And as I walked, I was trying to film but not make it too obvious because a lot of the times they don't want you filming in the immigration areas. So I walked up, joined the line. You had to fill out another form when you got here, and I did that. Then I saw some photos. Then I got picked up by my Airbnb host. It was Geezy and her daughter, lovely people. They came so late to get me. I really enjoyed that. Then we got to the house, which wasn't too far, and I went to sleep. I'm sitting here with my Airbnb host, lovely Geesey. She's so wonderful. She got me from the airport yesterday, and we're just having a casual talk. She made me a very nice banana smoothie, and she was telling me about the weather and the climate here in Guatemala City. So,
You want to stay is good. And we can sit here with the beautiful background there.
so that light is good.
Out there.
That's good.
Is
Actually,
there enough light here?
all
or
of it is
there
actually.
at
Oh,
the
this one
table?
is really good. Okay, so we're back with the lovely Kizzy. And she was telling me about the climate and the weather here in Guatemala City. So go ahead, Kizzy.
I feel so privileged to be here with Sheena and having her ask me about all this. And I was telling her that the weather in the tropical areas is determined by the altitude. And Guatemala City is 5,000 feet above sea level. And so it's cool and delicious most of the year. Today happens to be one of the warmest days of the year. We're maybe hitting 80. And for us, that is very hot. But it's actually very tolerable and nice. And it gets coolish. Maybe it'll drop to 50 on the coldest days. Now, the difference here is that we have neither air conditioning nor heating. So if it's hot outside, it's going to be warm inside, and if it's cold outside, it's going to be cold inside as well. But it's tolerable. Guatemala City is actually called the land of eternal spring. And because we are 15 degrees north, the sun will be perpendicular to the city twice a year, once in May, once in August, on its way up to the Tropic of Cancer and on its way down to the equator in the Tropic of Capricorn again. And those are the warmest seasons we have, or the warmest times. But it has to do also with the cloud cover. And Sheena was asking me about summer, like July and August, which are the hottest months everywhere else. And here they're very nice because of the rainy season. So we have a lot of cloud cover. It usually rains every day. Mornings tend to be super clear, very blue skies, and then by early afternoon it clouds up and we get rain, and that cools everything down. So really our warmest season is right now, right before the rainy season begins in the middle or end of May.
Thank you so much. Wow. Yeah, I'm sure everyone, you can put in the comments what you think, but let me know if you're as surprised as me. I really did not know that about Guatemala. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about Guatemala City?
Well, I love my country. I think it is one of the prettiest countries in the world. We have mountains, we have volcanoes, we have very active volcanoes that are climbable. You can go see the eruptions. We have amazing lakes, and we also have the oceans. We have both the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean, and they're very different. And the whole country is one treasure after another. Everybody should take a long vacation here. So Sheena, I hope that this will be just a little tiny taste for you to want to come back and really visit this beautiful country.
Really explore, huh? And that made me think, now that you've said that about the weather, what would it be like for the beaches? Because would the water be warm?
The water is very warm in the ocean, yes. The water is very warm, and it's hot. It's hot. There's always a breeze. You know, if you're at the beach, there's always a breeze that comes in from the ocean in the daytimes and a cooler breeze that comes in from the mountains in the evenings. There's just like an hour and a half right at sunset when the breeze stops, and then gets muggy, hot, and full of mosquitoes. But the rest of the time it's nice, especially if you are at the beach and you can get in the water and there's a swimming pool maybe where you're staying. It's super pleasant.
Okay, okay. And tell us a little bit about like the cuisine. What would you say? Do you think Guatemalan cuisine stands out?
Well, we love it. We Guatemalans love it, of course, but we have our main staples are based on corn, lots of tortillas, lots of corn-based foods, and black beans. That's our staple. Most families have black beans every day. Most families have tortillas 3 times a day. And there's other, even though it's such a small country, each region seems to have their own typical dish. Lots of sauces, meats with sauces that are based on roasted tomatoes, roasted onions, roasted garlic, roasted peppers, both hot peppers and bell peppers. And then everything is now blended, but it used to be ground on a stone before. And they're, I think, very, very delicious.
Okay.
Foods
What's
that you
your
can get.
favorite?
My favorite is probably a meat dish called pulque, which doesn't have the chilies in it. It does have tomatoes, bell peppers, onion, garlic, but the flavor is given by allspice
Ah.
and cloves, which is unusual, and a leaf that is very common here for cooking that gives it a very special flavor. So it's kind of like, it can be beef or chicken or any meat really in a sauce. And usually that is eaten with rice, white rice, and tortillas, of course.
Tortillas, of course.
Yes.
When I was in Puerto Rico, one spice they put in every dish was cilantro. Is there
Oh,
a spice
yes.
that goes in every dish
Yes.
here?
Culantro is what we call it here, but it's the same thing. Yes, it goes on everything.
Oh, it goes on
practically,
everything
yes.
here too?
Yes.
Ah.
Sometimes as a garnish, or sometimes finely chopped and on top. Also, parsley used like that a lot. Parsley is also used like that a lot.
Parsley. Okay. And in terms of the Indians, is it the Mayans that were here?
The Mayas, yeah, this is the main area of the world where the Mayas lived. And what we have now are the descendants of the Mayas. And there are like 23 different groups with different languages, with a different dress, way they dress. And the language situation is kind of complicated because they have to communicate in Spanish. So most of them are bilingual.
So they have you're saying they had a different language? It still survived?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Do you know the name, or there are
Yeah,
variations?
There's
there are
a whole
many.
bunch of different names. Each group will have a different language. The
Wow.
main one is Quiche. The one around this area is called Cachiquel. But there's 23 main ones. But just to give you an example of how little they can communicate in their languages with each other, the Bible was translated to every language here. They did 45 translations. So even though there's 23 main languages, they had to do several translations of some languages where there was groups that did not understand other areas or other groups that it was supposedly the same language.
Very interesting. Do that? Are they? Do they get? Are they? Do they? What they call it? Protected rights.
There's a lot of laws
Okay.
that they get. I don't know how they get. The, really no. I'm going to say no to that, which is a really sad thing. But there's a lot
Okay.
of course, when the Spaniards came, conquering nations come. They come to conquer, right?
Yeah.
And mistreated the Indians. We never called them, or they never called them slaves, but that's what they were. The King of Spain would grant land to Spaniards, and they would get the land with the people that lived there already to be their workers, slaves, if you will. And there's still a lot of bad attitudes going around, but in general, it's changing, and the indigenous population of Guatemala gives us the color, the folklore, the arts and crafts. It's amazing. I'll show you some stuff in a little bit.
That's
Because,
yeah. I was gonna ask you
yeah.
if they integrate or if they have their own areas or how
Well, I think when the Spaniards came, and remember that the Spaniards, at the time of the conquest, the Spanish Inquisition was in full, was just going great in Spain. So they came with those ideas here to evangelize, whether you wanted to be evangelized or not. And the people here didn't wear much of anything. Women usually went around topless. So the Spaniards right away started dressing them, and what they did, so that you could identify your Indians, they forced them, I guess, to have a different type of outfit, so you could recognize them, and that still works. I can see an outfit. It's changing because now with communication and everything, things are changing really fast. But I can see somebody with an outfit and say, oh, that person is from Quichechichicastenango, and that other person is from Quichebarixil, and that, more or less, because now there's more mix in that. But I'll show you my huipiles is what we call the blouses that they wear,
Okay.
and the people still wear that all the time.
Wow.
It's not like only for ceremonies or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
People
Right.
still wear that.
Okay.
And super colorful, super nice.
Yeah.
I love, I love my country so much, but I love the textiles are amazing.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And tell everyone about your Airbnb because she's so lovely. She got me from the airport at 1:30 in the morning. Like that's so nice. I'm so appreciative. So she's an excellent host, and you can find her. What's the name of your Airbnb on?
I think it's called Perfect Location in Guatemala City. But I'm very close to the airport in a lovely area. I have a nice green, very small because it's a small townhouse garden, but it's very green. I love my plants. I love my house. And I want to share it with everybody. And I've been doing Airbnb since 2012, which was very much at the beginning. And I need to tell you, I have only had wonderful experiences with Airbnb. I've never had a bad experience. And I love having people here, so anybody that wants to come, welcome to come. Look me up.
Yes, and I'll put our information in the description, so it will take you straight to our Airbnb link. Well, I'm sure we'll see more of Gigi. Gizi. I don't know why I'm calling her Gigi. It's Gizi. I'm so sorry. We'll see more of Gizi later. Thank you so much, Gizi, for this informational
Thank
interview.
you.
Thank you. So this is the Pan American Highway, and if we continue driving this direction, we can drive to Mexico. And the opposite direction takes you to Costa Rica.
Eventually, El Salvador,
El
Honduras,
Salvador.
and Nicaragua first.
Okay, this direction goes to Mexico, the other direction you'll go to El Salvador first. Ah. And it's called Panama.
It'll get there eventually.
Okay.
I've done that part. My parents took us by car to Costa Rica. I was very young. I
Wow.
was like maybe 14.
That's
It was
probably a
wonderful
4-day
trip.
trip.
Oh, yeah, we probably did it all through Easter week, but I told you that Easter is like the whole week is holiday.
Yes.
So we probably took the whole week to come and go.
Ah.
Maybe a few more days, maybe 10 days.
Okay. So you go across the border and I guess meet immigration and
Yeah.
their checkpoints.
Yeah,
Uh
we
huh.
have to cross all the borders. There's an agreement between Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua called the CA4, which allows us to travel with our ID.
Okay.
Central Americans can travel with the ID. Costa Rica, do you want to get into that?
So they didn't
So-
join?
We don't need a visa to go to Costa Rica, but you need a passport.
Oh, okay.
So this plaza that you're going to see here right in front of us is like our Independence Plaza. And it's called the Obelisk, even though it has a little tiny obelisk. Hey, you can almost see the mountains over there. Can you see them?
Almost, yeah.
Sometimes they're crystal clear, but not today. There's Northland. So that's a very nice park here. One of the nice things that happens on this street is that on Sundays from 10 to 4, they close it up to traffic. The other lane is closed to traffic, and it's just for roller skating or biking or walking your dog or just walking.
Right.
It's
right.
very nice. So this whole avenue is a beautiful park.
Okay.
And this is called Reforma.
Performa.
Reforma.
Reforma.
Avenida de la Reforma.
Okay.
Oops, red light. Don't go when I'm red. And it's nice and quiet and
And these buildings were
lots of buildings. Yeah, a lot of people had moved to the mountains on the east that way are moving back because traffic is so bad, and so apartment buildings are going up everywhere.
And how much do these apartments rent for?
It's like Manhattan.
Really?
That's
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
In this area, probably like $1,000.
A month for like
$1,000 to $1,500 probably for a smallish apartment.
a small 1-bedroom or a studio?
Yes, 2-bedroom maybe. It's cool down.
So usually in other areas that
So
aren't
nice, maybe $500-600.
right. So anything nice, you're looking at like
Yeah.
1,000 or more.
Yeah.
I understand.
This is an older apartment building, so here you can probably get something for a little less. But they're very nice, big apartments.
The older ones are bigger.
Yeah, the older ones are bigger.
That's everywhere, yeah.
It had pretty much got to pot. Now this is where all the, I'll think of the word in a second. Not the yuppies, but what came after the yuppies? The hipsters live.
Oh,
Young people with money to spend.
I see.
We'll go in there later for you to take a look. We can walk around.
Okay.
Right now I want to go downtown.
All right.
It's also closed on Sundays
Okay.
for families
Right.
for a few hours. There's a park at the end of this. It's kind of nice.
It looks very peaceful. With the families walking,
Yeah.
people cycling.
We're still walking and biking. It's very pleasant around here.
Yeah.
This
I
is the area
like
where my sister-in-law grew up.
it. Okay.
Big old houses, more like 40s houses around here.
Yeah. Oh, this
So
is the
there
park.
used to be a hippodrome here.
Oh, really?
And now it's still called El Hipódromo,
It's very nice.
but it's no longer a hippodrome. Right here, there is a park here. People love to come and see by all the cars here, right? That's also the baseball, the official baseball title.
Okay. Are they trying to?
Here.
Why are they flagging? You're trying to get you to help you park? The guys.
Yeah, they're trying to help you park.
And then you give them a tip.
Yeah, this park is closed, unfortunately, or it would be the perfect place to come and visit. It's not closed. There are people in there. Let's go.
Okay.
In the shade. Look at that. This park here. Lives in a little town in Ohio, close to.
Guisela took me to visit the relief map, Mapa en Relief de Guatemala. It's the relief map of Guatemala, and it's very impressive and spectacular. It's a huge 3D map of Guatemala that covers about 1,800 square meters, and it shows the terrain of Guatemala. What's impressive about this, it was made without the aid of modern technology in 1905. The founder or the developer or the engineer, so to speak, they traveled by donkey around the country, and they took them 15 years to actually map the terrain and come up with it. So it contains the volcanoes, the valleys, the basins, the rivers, the lakes, the coast, the ports, as well as, countless cities and towns and roads and railways. It's actually really, really, really impressive. There is no other map like this in the world. I think Scotland tried it, but it's not as impressive, and I'm not even sure if it's still up now. But in any event, the one in Guatemala, the relief map, is the largest one, and I really enjoyed this tour. Gizi was so knowledgeable about it, so enjoy with me. And what was it about that half volcano?
It's the second tallest,
Uh-huh.
and it's half here and half in Mexico.
Uh-huh. Is that one active, extremely active?
No, those are not.
Okay.
So basically, the three very active points are Santiaguito, Fuego, and Pacaya.
Okay. So this blue over here represents the Pacific, right? I was gonna ask
So
that.
these are all the beaches in the Pacific Ocean. They're full of homes. They're full of weekend homes, mainly. There's villages. And see where it says Sipacate there?
Yeah,
Okay,
Sipacate.
there's a river that falls, that goes to the canal right there. We're just at the other side of that river, still in Sipacate. And in a little village called El Paredón.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Francisco
this is the guy
Vela.
that designed this.
Oh, so he's the
Francisco
one
Vela, yeah.
who designed.
And it was, I think, inaugurated in 1902 or something like that. That should say. Autor del mapa en relieve, que el principio del 19 de abril de 1904. No, that was a lie. It was finished in 1905, yeah.
Nice.
But also our states here are called departments. But they have one of their own little department.
Mm-hmm.
So this here is already the Atlantic Ocean. And those are the keys. All those little islands are the Belize keys on the reef.
Ah.
Sometimes they have water here. But
Wow.
it doesn't look like they've had water there
Because
in a
of the
long
dry
time.
season.
This is the second biggest coral reef in the world.
What?
The biggest one is the Australia Reef, and the Belize Yucatan Reef is the second biggest. It's huge.
Oh, I'm learning so much on this trip. My viewers are going to learn so much on this trip. You guys heard that? Wow.
Right here, where the terrain turns white, this is Honduras already.
El Dudas?
Honduras, Honduras.
Honduras.
The country.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So this represents Honduras. Ah. So Honduras is also mountainous.
Oh yeah. But interestingly, Honduras has no volcanoes. Guatemala does, El Salvador does, Nicaragua does, and Costa Rica does. Honduras has none.
Interesting. That is interesting.
And here there are like 40 some volcanoes.
Wow. Are they active, any of them?
Some, yes, very active, some of them. And a lot of them semi-active where you can smell, or they have like fumarolas, which are where there's a little bit of steam coming out, but no lava.
Oh, look at this. Look at this.
Here's the bird's eye view.
So, Gizi. So, Gizi, all of this white, even coming all the way
But
along
here
here.
we're on El Salvador already.
This is El Salvador, this part.
There should be a red line where El Salvador and Honduras separate, but there isn't.
But all the green, all this mountainous part.
And look at how mountainous. This the proportion is 5-to-1. Because if they did it, what the proportion is, it would look pretty flat.
Right, right.
Right? But there's Guatemala City, the big red blotch in the middle there.
Let me zoom that. So that's Guatemala City, okay.
All of those are volcanoes.
Which ones?
All of those peaky ones.
All the
along
peaks
whole,
are
and
volcanoes.
then comes the coast. Sea level over there.
How many volcanoes did you say again?
40 something. Julie will be able to tell us 46.
40
I think.
something, okay.
Yeah. So, see the lake just south of Guatemala City?
Yes,
And there's a multi-peaked volcano right there.
yes.
Very active.
That one's very active.
Very active. Okay. Then you go one volcano further, and then there's two together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because there's one really peaky one, and then the other two that are next to it. There's two volcanoes. The one on the south, or on our left here,
Mm-hmm.
extremely active.
Wow.
And then way over there, we might see it from over there, is another one that is very, very active. I have some pictures, mainly that Julie has taken, because she's a photographer.
Are the eruptions, I mean, when was the last eruption?
They're erupting. They're constantly erupting.
But it just hasn't been anything that's displaced
Okay.
people.
Yes. Fuego, which is the one that I told you, it's together with the other one.
Mm-hmm.
They had a huge eruption in 2018, June 3rd, 2018, and almost more than 2,000 people died
Oh, wow.
because they wouldn't leave their homes.
They wouldn't
really poor
leave?
communities, and
Yeah.
they would not evacuate
Oh.
because they were afraid people would come and steal their things.
Oh, wow.
I feel so sad.
So tragic,
sad.
yeah.
Yes. There was a really ritzy hotel and club. It's a golf course and a smaller lake than it looks like there. But Amatlan, the one over there by the city, it's a bigger lake than it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I've never been to this one, but it's half in Guatemala, half in El Salvador. Well, actually, about 2/3 in El Salvador and 1/3 in Guate. I've never been there. To Ouija. We don't go to this area as much as we go to the other, the west of Guatemala City. We don't come to the east of Guatemala City that much, even though we love it.
Right.
But that lake is awesome. And
It
this
looks big.
river- This river that goes from the lake to the Atlantic is amazing. It is amazing, and it's jungle, and it's amazing, amazing, amazing. And hard to get to. That's the, it's like, so long to drive there. And
You'll have to plan a
we
trip
spent
soon.
New Year's of 2020 to 2021 on the river. See where that other little river goes in the middle of the river there?
Mm-hmm. That's
There's
where
a
you
little
spent
hotel right
New
there
Year.
on the other little river, but real close to the big river, and that was just an amazing place right smack in the middle of the jungle. Really cool. And see, at the entrance of the lake, it says Castillo San Felipe.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a fort that the Spaniards built to keep the Brits out. Because the pirates used to come in and try to... Well, actually, they did it so well that we lost all of Belize. And those were pirates. Really, it wasn't like formerly the British Empire.
Right.
You go through the mountains and then join this valley where this river is.
This thin blue line
The
here.
thin blue line there. It's a big river.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, I see the route.
1902. That one had an earthquake so strong that it killed 25,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
It was amazing. But in that gash, that hole, another cone started coming out. And it's called Santiaguito, which, because this is from 1905, we don't see it. It's amazing, and it's extremely active also.
Wow.
And we were just there with Julie in February, and I'll show you pictures. I'll have to have Julie. This is the northern, this is already part of the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's flat. So this is all the northern jungle. Now, when this was built, we were still claiming Belize as Guatemalan territory, which it was originally. It was stolen by the Brits. And so Belize is still here on this map. Okay, but there's the border. See the red line? That's the border between Guatemala and Belize.
Ah, that's what that signifies. Wow. Amazing.
Okay. I'm looking for Tikal here, and I can't see it. So it's got to be that one over there. There's Huachactung, and the one next to it is Tikal. And there's Yaxha over there, which are all of these, well, not the rivers, but a lot of these are Mayan ruins. This one, El Mirador, is the biggest one there is, and they're just now excavating it. And it's got supposedly the biggest pyramid in the world. It's bigger than the ones in Egypt.
No way.
But it's covered with jungle. So this is the northern jungle.
And these are all the cities.
No, there's rivers and yeah, and see the all of the Mayan ruins will have the little sign. El Mirador has it, Huachactún has it, Tikal has it, Ushumi has it, Yaxcaxa has it. So where you see the little pyramids, those are Mayan
Ruins.
ruins, yeah. The rest of them are. Like from Guatemala City to Flores. Where's Flores? But to that lake.
Okay, I zoomed it up, that lake.
It's a tiny country, but it's a 10-hour drive.
10-hour drive
Yeah,
from Guatemala
from
City.
Guatemala City. I've done it many times. I would much, much, much rather drive than fly anywhere. Ooh, thank you. It has a good timbre to it, the sound it makes, this wood. And this is the wood that the marimbas are made of. Marimba is the instrument.
Okay.
It's like a xylophone, except it's all wood.
Okay.
And this is the wood that they're made of.
So these are the trees that
These
they're
are the
made
trees,
from.
yeah. So they
Okay.
planted 100 trees here just in honor of the marimba.
Okay. All right. So now we're looking from the other
Now we're
side.
looking from the west.
So Guatemala is really big.
Guatemala City.
Well,
Or the country.
the country itself, because this is all the.
You know, my 4th grade social studies book said Guatemala was about the size of Tennessee. Not very big at all. And we lived in New Mexico. My husband was from New Mexico and we lived in New Mexico. And New Mexico had 5 times the area of Guatemala in state and national parks only. That's how big those states are compared to my little country.
But Tennessee, the way I'm thinking about it. So apparently you can't be in Guatemala and not have pollo campero. It's like the KFC of Guatemala. It was good. I really enjoyed it.
Isn't that
Wow,
cool?
this is so pretty.
This was the centerpiece at the, I don't know, 1933 or something World Fair, and the president liked it and bought it and put it up here, and it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yes.
I'm so glad you came back around and we drove on.
So this is all Zone 10, which is mostly residential. It's a very nice area.
What's it called?
Zone 10.
Zone 10.
Yeah, and there's like neighborhoods in Zone 10. My neighborhood doesn't have a name. So I'm going to take you.
Zone 10.
To
Okay.
big, the Spanish way of thinking is not into parks. So remember, everything here is Spain. That's the beach.
Ah. Do people live in the beach towns, like a lot of people, or they just go?
Not really.
Right.
Not really. It's, I mean, there's villages and towns there. So this is part of the military.
Yeah, that was pretty.
It used to be like a fort to protect the city.
Oh. It was
Now
a
it's the
beautiful building.
Ministry of Defense.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to make a U-turn here and then go to another big street and head on downtown so you can see the older part of the city.
Okay.
But I'm going to drive you on this other street, which is very
Okay. clear today though. No traffic, right?
No, Sunday, and it's a long weekend, so a lot of people left the city.
Oh, that's the building. Honor Derber. He glory. That's the building you were telling me about, the ministry.
The military, yeah. Sorry. And when we cross the street, I want you to look to the right.
Okay. This is still zone 10?
This is still zone 10. Did you see it?
I did not.
You did not? Okay, I'll drive you under it.
What am I looking for?
You'll see it. Laundering money out.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is that gives a lot of people work. So. And we're coming on another huge shopping center here. In fact, one of my clients, he has food trucks. He just opened a restaurant in Majas. What happened to Majas? It's right just south of this area. This is hotel. Okay, this is Miraflores. It's huge. This shopping center. You don't want to go in there and walk in there.
Miraflores.
Yeah, I'm not too much for shopping centers. Noticed maybe. But it's full of centers like that.
Right.
All over here. All of these buildings have like shopping inside of them.
And this is still Majas? This is still the Majas area?
No, Majas, yeah. No.
Majas, no.
But it's zone 11 on this side, zone 7 on this side.
Okay.
So here's another huge place. It's got La Torre is one of the big supermarket chains. That's a local supermarket chain, unlike Walmart. And they're everywhere. And they're pretty good.
Yeah, you're right. This side is very Americano. I see Burger King, Dunkin' Donuts.
Fridays, we saw Carl's Jr.
Right.
We saw, Guatemalans tend to think that anything that is American or German is super duper.
It's superior.
There's a large German community here.
Really?
Yeah, because they were the ones that came here for the coffee in the 1800s.
Okay.
And Germany still gives passports to 5th and 6th generation Germans, so they still very much German. Unlike the Germans that migrated to the States, for example.
Right.
That became Americans the first generation.
Interesting.
I gotta get out of here. Okay, so that is zone 7. This is zone 11, and as soon as we go through another freeway, under another freeway, it'll be zone 12 and zone 8.
Okay.
This is the big, huge national hospital that's in this area.
Oh, there's a big street market here along here.
Oh yeah, that's one of the biggest street markets. It's called El Guarda.
Yeah, it goes on and on.
I don't know if you want to go in there alone.
It's one of those rough ones. No jewelry. You'd have to be able to speak English, Spanish.
Oh yes, and hopefully go with somebody, because you know what happens to me? They see me coming and they triple the price, right? Even though I speak like a Guatemalan, I can claim I'm a Guatemalan, but surely I have dollar signs in my eyes.
Yeah.
Right, so when I go shopping like that, my little market, I feel very comfortable there.
Right.
Because they know me.
So they give you
They
the
not
local
only
price.
know me, they give me credit and they send the stuff.
Right.
I order it on WhatsApp and they send me the stuff.
That's very nice.
Yes, it's really cool. And now I'll just make a bank transfer. The court system, the main court system, the municipal building, the social security building, they're all right there.
Yeah.
And one of the neatest things about all of those buildings is that they have, it's not sculptures, what do you call it when a wall has like a half sculpture stuck to it?
Like murals?
Yeah, murals done by the most famous artists of the time when these buildings were built.
Oh.
So it's really cool. I'll go real slow, there's nobody behind me. So this is the Social Security building. That is a National Bank, and there's the mural. The one over there is the Bank of Guatemala, and there's its mural. This is another mural. The municipality has a mural. They are so awesome.
They are. Wow.
There's a nice sculpture of some hands there. It's kind of cool. And these other buildings, they have murals too, but not visible from here. That's the court system. And so is this one, I think.
Yes, it says Justicia.
Okay, now we're in Zone 1, which is the original zone where the city first grew. So the zones go almost in a spiral type thing, you know, according to where the city was growing. So it was from Zone 1, and then to the north is Zone 2, and then to the west Zone 3, to the east Zone 4, Zone 5, Zone 6, Zone 7 way over here. So it's sort of like that.
Okay.
You just gotta learn where they are, where you are.
Right. But this would be
this
the
is
oldest.
already the old part of town.
Right.
And you can see it in some of the constructions. This hasn't been reclaimed as much, though some of it has. This used to be a movie theater when I was a kid. This building right there.
Oh, a lot of people down here.
Yes. Okay, so downtown is just downtown full of offices and stores and stuff like regular downtown. But on Sundays, the people that work in homes, that live in homes to do the housework, they get the day off and they come downtown. And so you will start seeing right now people dressed in their garb. There's a lady over there that has her Indian clothing on. Men don't wear it anymore. There's another lady selling something right there, and she's got it on. But we'll get to the Central Park where people
Are wearing.
they come and this is their place to go on weekends, on Sundays, and it's really, really cool.
It does look very vibrant.
So this is like an outdoor market right here on the street. And we're full in Zone 1 right now. Most of the buildings are older. Some of them are like, they look more modern, even though I know that building is at least 60 years old.
That's a police station?
No, that's one of the clinics, the Social Security.
Oh, okay.
So see, these two corner houses are really old. And this is what all the houses downtown
Used to look like.
Yeah. And they're really cool inside.
Wow.
But, you know, that's getting lost so quickly here, unfortunately.
You don't think eventually it will be gentrified and people will come in and...
Some, I don't know about moving back in here. Not yet. We still don't have that mentality. I would in a jiffy, because the homes are amazing. Okay. In about 1860s, there was a takeover by the liberals. It's called the Liberal Revolution, but it wasn't a revolution at all. Okay, this is the Guatemala. It used to be, you know, back when people had clubs, but all of this is communications. This is the telephone place.
Claro.
But this beautiful building
It is beautiful.
is the post office.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It is awesome. Yes, it's awesome. Now, the municipality has taken it over, and they have classes in there. They teach everything in there: dance, music, um, symphony for kids, painting. I don't know what else they do, but that's what this building is used for right now, and it's awesome.
It's
And they
beautiful.
have it very well, nicely kept up. Now, some of the homes have been uh, are in use. Like this is a bank,
Okay.
and so the building is in very nice condition, and it's been, inside it's very, very nice.
Okay.
A lot of them have become parking lots, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, here's another nice looking old building. My father he loved history and he loved architecture. And I worked for him a long time, and he would come and say, "Let me show you. Do you have time?" Of course, he was my boss. I had time if I was with him. But let me show you. So this house was built by such and such an architect, and such a family used to live here.
And
It
he would
was
give
just
you a
the
full
most
history
interesting
lesson.
thing,
Yeah. Wow.
Give me all these tours. Okay, we're getting to the park, and this is in Puerto Rico. They didn't have the system, but a lot of the Spanish colonies did, where there's a park, and then there's this is the cathedral and the palace, and the government offices were around here, and so I'll go around as much as I can here.
It's gorgeous.
So I told you this is where the people come and spend the afternoon on their day off. And you see a lot of people with their typical garb on. So, yeah, this is the cathedral. It's a really, really nice church. But this city is relatively new because, like I was telling you, there was this earthquake in 1772, and by royal decree, the city moved here in 1776.
Where did it move from?
So the city is relatively new,
Oh.
instead of being from the 1500s,
Oh.
like a lot of the capital cities are. Mexico City, for example, and Lima,
Right.
and Bogota is also like that. Quito, Ecuador. This city is from the 1700s. So this is the National Palace, but this was built in the 40s. Less than 500 years.
Wow.
It's super nice.
Gorgeous.
It's super nice. It's got some nice art inside and stuff. It's no longer, where the president works. I think that the Ministry of pasen patojos, pasen. Of Foreign Affairs has their offices there. That's where the ambassadors and stuff they send their letters and whatever.
Okay.
It's a different park. Many times there's concerts right there.
Right.
So we're like smack downtown here.
So this would be downtown Guatemala City.
Perdón.
What's his
He had the
problem?
right of way, and I didn't.
Oh, you didn't see him?
So this municipality has been, I think they've been in power for about, 24 years maybe, and they've planted all these trees and, really have worked hard to beautify the downtown area. Kind of hard. Lots of graffiti and what have you. Go back to 7th Avenue. This is 5th Avenue. I'll go back to 7th Avenue and continue going north. The city ends because there's a huge ravine.
Okay.
And we don't have many bridges going anywhere, so it's like different colonies and stuff sort of get stuck there. And the city has grown into the mountains that way a lot, like a couple million people living up there.
Oh, really?
Even though technically it's no longer Guatemala City, right?
What is it technically?
Then you can't see the mountains. But there they are.
So, what is the name for the mountains now where those people are, since it's no longer
Uh,
technically Guatemala City?
yeah, this is the mountain over there. The name is, we call it carretera, which means road, which is the road to El Salvador. That's what it is.
Okay.
Here's one of the parks, but the parks here are not like grass and trees and stuff, but they're like a plaza type park. This one is called San Sebastian.
Okay. Oh, they're out with their skateboards.
Yeah.
So that's the bus stop.
Yes. It's my taxi. I'm getting ahead of it. Look that way. The back side of the palace is right there.
Yep, I caught it.
Mira, usted toca la bocina todo lo que quiera, but I'm turning here. So we're pretty soon getting into zone 2, but we're still in zone 1 here.
Okay.
More blocks.
It's kind of a big city. Bigger than I thought.
The city?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Like it goes on and on.
before Richard passed away, he played the trombone, and so he participated in any band that he could play in. And he played this big brass band. And one of his friends there was the sales director for Coca-Cola. Those people know what the populations are. The government has no clue. But those people do. And this must have been 2014. This guy told Richard the metro area of Guatemala City was 6 million.
Wow.
And I'm talking, what, 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Wow.
8 million. The red light is way over there, not here. Wake up. Okay, this is a really busy artery that goes, turn here. It goes east-west, the northern artery of east-west. It's really busy. Look at that gorgeous tree. You have to have seen those in Jamaica because
Yes.
it's more of a
I don't remember
Caribbean
what it's
tree. It's called a
called.
flamboyant. Puerto Rico's full of them too.
Yeah, we
Oh,
have
it's
that.
beautiful. Look at that.
I think we call it the John Crow tree because the crows, there's a bird in Jamaica called the John Crow.
And it likes that tree.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I'm surprised that it grows at this altitude, but it does. And there's not that many in the city, but they're in bloom right now and they're precious.
Yes, we do have them. As we sat by the stoplight waiting for it to go green, I couldn't help but think about how similar, everywhere you go in the world, there is something that reminds me of home, Jamaica. Here we had that tree in Jamaica, we call it the John Crow tree, and it's actually the national tree or similar to the national tree of Guatemala. I really enjoyed this tour, Gizi. It was fantastic. She is my Airbnb host, and I'll put her information in the description link. Explore the world, people. Please get out there, whatever you need to do. Explore the world. It's beautiful. There's so much to see. And as usual, I'll catch you on the next one. I hope you dance. I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill together.